Alright guys, so today we're going to be making some chorizo pizza. We're going to start out by cutting up a couple of potatoes here. These are just russet potatoes. We're going to slice them up kind of thin, regular fried potato style. And we're going to get underway and make us some chorizo pizza. We got beef chorizo is what we're going to be using on this. They also make a pork chorizo that's pretty good also. Get these potatoes sliced up. I'm using a really not really old, but a pretty old knife here. It's a old hickory carbon steel blade. Really love how nicely it cuts through potatoes. It works really well. So we got us a 12-inch cast iron skillet, Lodge of course. Slap our potatoes in here, and then we'll add some seasonings also. Got our garlic powder, and we use some minced onion here. Gotta be, just shake it until your ancestors tell you to stop. That's when you know you've got it to the right amount. You just let these fry up for a little while, kind of brown them up. We'll stir them around here, flip them over, give them a few minutes on each side before stirring, because if you stir them too much, it'll make them just get soft and then they'll start breaking apart real easy. You gotta let them sit there and simmer for a couple of minutes and actually fry up and kind of crisp up a little bit. That way everything kind of stays together for you. And we'd been cooking them for a few minutes at this point. You can tell that they've got some of that nice color on the back sides already. And after those are finished up, you pull them out of the skillet. We added our beef chorizo. I grew up eating a lot of Spanish dishes. It's in my heritage a little bit, so we ate a lot of it. So here we're just going to fry this up, cook it down a little bit, and get those juices extracted out of all of it. Let everything simmer together in the pan. And then, oh, looks so good too. Right here we've got it pretty much cooked down. Add our potatoes back to it. We're going to stir those around in there, let them soak up some of that juice. And some people take all that juice out of there. I like leaving some of it for the potatoes to cook into it. And I did that also on this recipe. I make a lot of breakfast tacos, and chorizo is one of my favorites. So usually it's potatoes and chorizo like this, and you add a bunch of scrambled eggs. So here we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of baking powder and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to sift this down, make sure all the big pieces get, broke down and down in there. And we're going to add a tablespoon of oil and a cup of water. Then I kind of waited a second on adding all the water just to make sure I didn't have too much water. It's always better to put a little bit and make sure you're good. Add a little more if you need it, instead of having to go the other way and add more flour. So after I got this all mixed in, we got it stirred around, and I actually ended up kneading this for about 10 minutes when I was done. And you want to mix it until it gets into like kind of a shaggy ball of dough. And then after that, you kind of knead it down for about 10 minutes. Let it rest for 5 minutes. And then after it's done resting, you're good to smack it down on the counter on some flour and start rolling. And I don't really know how to throw a pizza dough, so I did my best. I just kind of pushed it around on the counter on some flour, and you'll see here how I did it. Just kind of make sure and add some flour to the rolling pin. That way your pin doesn't stick to the dough. Add a little to the top of the dough. Just helps everything from sticking. So I rolled it out just a little bit to kind of get a somewhat shape. And I'm not a baker, so don't hate on my bakery skills here. So here's where I was getting it pretty into shape. I made it a tiny bit bigger than I needed. So after I got done putting the pizza together, we trimmed the edge of it and made it round, because it was about an inch bigger than the pan, well, the cooker we were using. So here we just added some tomato sauce based sauce and just kind of stirred it around with the spoon, evened it out. We had 2 types of cheese on this. I actually didn't use mozzarella. I used Colby Jack and Monterey Jack. Those are our 2 types of cheese that Julie and I both enjoy a lot, so that's what we chose to use on our pizza. And some might say that's not enough sauce, but she was lucky I added that much to it. So here we're going to add a bunch of Monterey Jack. That's my favorite cheese, by the way. I love Monterey Jack cheese. Freshly grated, of course. Buy it in the block and grate it up myself. And here we added some of the Colby Jack. I saved a little bit for after we get the chorizo and potatoes on here, which I think is what we're at now. Yeah, we're gonna dish these on here, spread it all out real good, you know, kind of keep it all level. And like I said, this was my first chorizo pizza. I'd never had it before. So this was our first go at it. I heard somebody say something about pizza, and then I thought about chorizo that we were having, and all of a sudden the idea became really well plot out in my head. So we threw it together. Here we added a little bit more of the cheese on top, that little bit that I saved, and just kind of, I like that little bit of burnt cheese on top of my pizza. So we had to add a little bit to the top there. Voila. And here is the pizza cooker. This is after we trimmed up the edge a little bit and got it straightened up better. We're going to put it on Pizza Plus. Oh, the Pizzazz Plus, the Presto pizza machine. This thing is really awesome, guys. If y'all don't have anything like this, definitely invest in one. They're not real expensive, and they cook a pizza amazing. So we cooked it for about 35 minutes. This has a dual element cooker. It cooks from the bottom and the top. You can select which way you want to cook. You can cook just on top, both, or just on bottom. We cooked for 20 minutes on both elements. And then after the 20 minutes, we shut down the top element, only cooked the bottom element to try and get that crust a little crispier. And came out about 35 minutes is how long we cooked this thing for. And it turned out perfect. So got our handy pizza cutter here, and never did work in a pizza shack, so my pizza cutting skills may not be up to par. But we got it cut into 8 pretty equal pieces, I think. And the cheese that I use doesn't have that super stretch or nothing like that to it. And so we didn't have the cheese stretch in the lift here. But I mean, I think it turned out pretty good looking pizza anyways. So thank you guys.